Hey, what's up, guys? Today, this is going to be the first ever episode of Pokemon Cards and Coffee. I do not have my coffee for the first one because I'm filming this at about 5 p.m. Just wanted to get this out there. But we are going to talk about all things Pokemon cards, collecting, investing, whatever you guys are really curious about the game itself. Um, First off, my name is Luis. I go by Luisi on all social media handles. That is my gamer tag. A little about myself. I got back into Pokemon cards kind of back in 2014. Just decided to get back into the hobby. I really needed something positive in my life. I was kind of in a weird place where I didn't know what I wanted to do. So 2014, I just took a little hiatus and decided to try to find myself. Kind of stumbled upon Pokemon cards again. Played off and on online for the free card game. If you happen to go online and play for free, you basically play the card game with other people online. So I did that for a few years, basically on and off. 2014 and 2015, one of those 2 years, I was basically collecting very minimally. I didn't really know much about it. And then we're currently in 2020, where we're quarantined still. This is end of August, early September. So I started again in 2020. Like many people have been listening to Gary V. He talks a lot about sports cards, and that's kind of the main focus on today's video or podcast, excuse me. Gary Vee talks a lot about sports cards and sports card investing, and he more recently, in the past, I believe, the year, he's really been talking about Pokemon cards and how you can flip it and make some money. And for a lot of people, that's like really great. It's really fun. You know, if you enjoy the hobby and you want to make some money, why not? Like, if you love it, by all means. And this is going to be kind of a side tangent, but right before filming this, I was really on Facebook groups because I feel like that's sort of a good place to go if you have no idea what to do. Get to talk to people, ask them questions, really get a feel for what you want to do as far as this hobby. And kind of just went into a bad place, you know. Saw a lot of negativity. I think there was a comment that was on there about actually on this topic about Gary Vee. Someone was looking for PSA 10, first edition cards. They were trying to spend some money, and someone was made a funny comment, or I guess I'll say it's funny if you think it's funny, but they made a comment about if you were a fan of Gary Vee, and the response was no, I'm not a fan of him. And the response to that was that they, as a community, and I'll put quotes as community, weren't fans of him simply because they didn't like the fact that people were investing into their hobby, thus making it more expensive for them. Which I understand from if you're a long-time collector and you start to see that your hobby that you've enjoyed for so long starts to get harder and harder to do. But the thing to think about too, for some of us who are coming either back into it or people who just want to understand it, you're sort of creating a wall when you say you don't enjoy the fact people are coming into your hobby. The more people who are coming to the hobby, obviously the more expensive it becomes, especially with older cards. There's a limited amount. They're not printing any more of the old cards anymore. There's a finite number. And if you have them in pristine condition, obviously they're gonna be more expensive. So to complain about people coming in and making it more expensive for you, I just find it's very difficult to back any of those people up. So moving forward, I think I'm probably just gonna stay away from Facebook groups as far as listening or taking any advice. Mainly just because I've been noticing a lot of that lately. Just a lot of people who are upset and don't want new people in. So it becomes a place of, I don't know, maybe I'm just focusing on the negative, but I'm really not a fan of that type of mentality where you're only allowing people to come in because they are collecting for the same reasons you are. Everyone has their own reasons to collect. Mine was very different from theirs. I grew up like many people my age, growing up and collecting just to collect. We weren't playing the game, we were just collecting. No one cared about energy cards or trainer cards. We just wanted to collect. I was probably one of the many people who didn't have a Charizard card. So would you call me a poor collector? I mean, I was fortunate enough to even have cards, to be honest. I wasn't poor, but my parents were not gonna buy a bunch of booster packs, for me. They were gonna buy me a bunch of cardboard that was gonna sit off to the side. No one really knew the value of it back then. And now it's just booming, with Pokemon, the Pokemon company being in the billions and being the biggest IP ever. It's very difficult to, see that 20 years in the future. So when people see the prices of some of these cards, it's very, what's the word? I'm blanking now. It's very inviting to want to come in and say, oh, well, maybe my cards are worth that much, so maybe I want to sell, or maybe I want to buy and flip, which I don't see a problem with that. It's it's very reminiscent of my younger years of when people kind of came into the skateboard shoe scene, when Nike came in, but right before Nike came in with the Nike SBs and that team, skate shoes on the high end were in like $60 to $70 range. Like that was an average for like a top tier skateboarding shoe. And then Nike came in and said, no, we're doing $80 to $100. And then all the shoe guys, the sneaker guys came in, and then they just started just like destroying the skateboarding shoe market. Not really destroying, I don't want to say destroying, but they really blew it up. And basically the standard was now the $80 to $100 range. You go into any skateboarding shoes outlet and you're not going to find a shoe for $60. If it is, it's probably going to be one of the cheaper end shoes. Standard now is going to be around that $80 to $100 range for like a decent shoe that's going to last you some time. So, people are going to move to what's most popular. And right now with quarantine, everyone's jumping in on sports cards collecting and Pokemon card collecting. And that's kind of just where people are at. I kind of got into it because I had really nothing else to do. I love Pokemon. I've been playing Pokemon Go for a very long time. I've gotten back into the video game scene. So collecting was just kind of a natural thing. Everyone's into Funko Pops. For everyone watching on YouTube, all the little Funkos up here. Yeah, I got into that too. So, collectors, I mean, it's a natural thing to collect. If you want to look back at, simple trading, people, the Native Americans were traders. Not traitors, though, traders. They traded things. It's a total natural thing, Some of our parents collected china. Some of our parents collected, quilts and stuff. Our generation's going to be collecting Pokemon cards. It's totally natural. And then people who have money are going to spend more money to have these limited high-end cards with, in my opinion, some really dope art. So that's my rant. But what I really wanted to talk about, because a lot of people on my socials are asking me, they too want to get back into the hobby. They don't know where to start. They don't know what to buy. And I was trying to figure out a simple way of trying to tell people not telling them what to buy, because I don't want to tell you what to do with your money. But if you do want to collect, I try to look up at someone who is quote unquote successful and is intelligent with their investments. And I, like I said before, have listened to Gary Vee, and listening to him talk, I follow him on social media, and he's actually posted a lot about his Pokemon card investments. And I actually have a list of cards that he's publicly said that he's purchased. Oh, stand by. That he's publicly purchased. And I kind of want to go over them and basically study that for a second to kind of help steer people into the right direction on what to buy if they can afford it. We're obviously going to get into like high number cards, and then make I'll make an attempt to help people out. I'm definitely going to be doing another episode talking about the history and what cards mean and what makes a card valuable as best as I can, what I've studied so far since the beginning of the year to now. But I'm gonna just get into the list right now. I'm gonna start off with the mecca of all cards that everyone kind of chases, but I mean really dreams to have, but will probably not afford it for the average collector. But Gary just recently said that he picked up a first edition shadowless PSA 10 Charizard. So he confirmed that he bought that PSA 10. There was a Instagram post where he posted that he had the big three, the Charizard, Venusaur, and Blastoise. And in that image, you could not see... You saw a Charizard, Blastoise, and Venusaur, but you couldn't tell if two of them, what their grades were. You can only see that the Venusaur was a PSA 9. So right off the bat, he's obviously going for the big players, the classics. He talks a lot about in sports cards, he goes for Hall of Famers as a safe investment. But obviously, for most of us, we're not going to be able to afford that. So Charizard, Blastoise, Venusaur, the big three, as some of us like to call them. He has one confirmed at PSA 10. He's got a Venusaur at PSA 9. The other two we don't know, but they're more than likely 9s or 10s. He also picked up a first edition, another shadowless Mewtwo. That one was a PSA 10. And I believe that was on eBay confirmed at around $10,000 to $12,000. I don't recall the amount, but it's in the thousands. And then the last one, he's been pretty vocal on this one, is a first edition shadowless Red Cheeks Pikachu at a PSA 10. So the trend, obviously, with Gary V is you go for known favorites. First edition, obviously, shadowless. So for those of you who don't know, shadowless is I don't have a card on me, but if you look at a card, the old cards, they had that little box around the character's image, and around that image there would be a shadow, which was normal. But the limited first print was that shadow was not there, and I believe that was considered a misprint or an error. I could be wrong on that, but they are very limited. They are very hard to find in a 10. So obviously, if you got Gary V money, you're going to go with all of those, and that's the safe bet. What I would do, now that we're done talking about the list, what I would do, obviously, for the average person is kind of follow suit with that, but obviously stay away from the big three if you can't afford it, because I know PSA first edition, raw first edition shadowless Charizards are probably going for the hundreds, even if not thousands. Raw, ungraded. So if you can afford that, by all means, go for the big three. But if you can't, I would say the best bet would be going for a first edition holo card of any notable characters, maybe even some that you liked. Something I'm actually doing is going for the most valuable characters, but only in the top 10. So something else I probably could have done, I'll probably do a bigger podcast on this one in particular, but Pokemon came out with a top 10 most rated popular characters at the beginning of the year, and which I happened to vote on. And that to me is a very simple strategy to go for when talking about characters, because in sports cards, athletes get hurt, and they have horrible seasons, they have bad seasons, but fortunately for Pokemon, no one really gets hurt. None of the characters get hurt. You don't see a bad or controversial character. If they were controversial, it was already fixed. Talking about Jinx and what was the other one? The only thing I could think of was Jinx was controversial. But any other character, they don't really get hurt, so you don't really see that as a quote-unquote bad investment as far as investing in a character. But I believe out of the top 10, only 2 of them were from the Kanto region, the original 151 Pokemon. and that was Charizard and Gengar. So if you can find a very mint Charizard or Gengar from the old sets, I would say that is a solid investment. Also going after, let me look at the list right now. And then I'll probably finish up. I wanted this first one to be short, but the Pokemon top 10, I believe. So bringing up the list right now. At number 10 was Gengar, right? So first generation Pokemon, Gengar. Like I said before, Charizard was up there, but number 10 was Gengar. 9 was Gardevoir. Number 8 was Rayquaza. 7 was Garchomp. 6 was Sylveon. 5 was Umbreon. 4 is a Charizard. 3 was a Mimikyu. 2 was Lucario, and number 1 was Greninja. So those are the top 10 favorite, most voted Pokemon. So you can use that as a kind of a guideline to see, which cards to invest in, because a lot of these, obviously other than Charizard and Gengar, a lot of those other cards are pretty reasonably priced. Like if you want to spend $100 on Pokemon cards, you can probably you can buy a few cards of some of those top 10, and maybe not now, but in the next couple of years, they might actually be worth something. So I would suggest looking up the top 10 Pokemon, and then researching which of those Pokemon characters have a valuable card. So whatever the most valuable Gardevoir card is, I would say buy that and hold on to it or get it graded. Yeah, because I think next year being the 25th anniversary, a lot of these fans that are coming back into it are going to come back and want to buy more. I'm hearing rumors that Pokemon is trying to do something big next year, especially with the 2021 2021 Tokyo Olympics happening next year instead of this year due to COVID. I think they're going to be very, very busy doing things, trying to bring people back into it. Pokemon Snap 2 is supposed to come back. They announced Pokemon Unite as another video game is either at the end of this year or next year. So they're very much trying to do something big for their 25th anniversary. So I would say that more and more people, we're still in the hot end of the card collection hobby right now. I would say right now is still a good time to get into it. But be very, very careful with how much you spend. I would suggest, this will probably be the last thing I do for today's podcast, but I would suggest going on eBay and looking at some of your favorite characters, or those characters looking at sold listings. So if you look at the filter, sold listings, and look at what those prices are. I'm pretty sure if you even look back prior to the beginning of this year, you'll see that the prices are slowly starting to come back up. So definitely do that if you are interested in getting into this hobby. I would suggest getting into this hobby because it's actually pretty fun, and that's kind of the main thing. You want to have fun with it. Definitely want to have fun with it, because who doesn't want to have fun making money doing something that they enjoy? You're not gonna make millions off of this, but you can make some decent money. This will be my last story and then I'll finish it. But I recently bought a lot of cards from a buddy of mine, and I paid a decent amount. I paid him $250 because I saw some of the goodies that he had, and I didn't realize that some of the other ones that he had were really good. And I made my money back within a day, and then I'm still profiting off of them because I'm holding on to the really nice cards that I didn't see in there. So yeah, if you want to do that, go ahead and buy some of your friends' old sets if they don't want them, and see if you can flip them. I've been trying to find some within the neighborhood. Nobody's giving them up, or nobody has them. People either throw them away, people can't find them. But if you want to try that, go ask around, say, even your own set, your old sets, if you want to start collecting, see what you have, see what you're missing. See what you can sell. See what see what it's worth. Go on eBay, check what it's sold for. But yeah, this is gonna be the first of many. I'll be definitely doing this on Anchor a lot. I'll be doing this on YouTube. Anchor's really, really simple, by the way. If you do feel like starting a podcast, go ahead and actually do it because it's very simple. All I did was just hit record, and I'm still talking right now. So if you want to hear more from me and you want to follow, go ahead and follow this podcast in particular. Pokemon Cards and Coffee. I will be drinking coffee in the future. I'll be doing these in the morning, so that way I have a reason to drink coffee. Follow me on Instagram. It's going to be at LOO_EASY, Louise. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and I do stream on Twitch every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm also on YouTube, so if you watching me, for those of you who are also listening to me, if you want to go ahead and subscribe, if you're watching, like this, and if you subscribe, go ahead and hit that bell for the notifications so that way you know every time I do one of these podcasts. If you've listened this far, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Again, this is going to be one of many. I'll try to come up with more topics. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment. If you have any feedback, if you want to see something more, by all means, write that in there as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Hope you have fun hunting some Pokemon cards, and I'll see you next time. Peace.